Hello, welcome back to another video on Rissa Chats. Thank you for being here. I'm glad you are. I wanted to say hello to my new subscribers. I have noticed you. Thank you for being here. Today's video I'm going to do is called Don't Follow the Sheep. And I've been wanting to do this one for a while, but I feel like it should follow on from the last one about perception. And it just makes sense to do it now. Just wanted to say just quickly before I start, if you do hear a bit of background noise, it's because I've got the door open and the washing machine on. This was my only window to do this little Rissa Chats today, so hopefully it'll all be fine. So yeah, I'm gonna sit and do my makeup and we're gonna talk about not following sheep. So I have always been a people watcher, always, for as long as I can remember. I don't know if it's just because my brain works differently. Allegedly, I do have alien blood, so that'll probably be another video at some point. I've got really rare blood, so maybe it's that. I don't know, but I've always been a bit of a people watcher. I kind of don't really bother with following everything that everybody does, because I just feel like I'm my own person. We're all so uniquely different, and that makes me not want to be like everybody else. But I've watched over the years like the way the world works and the way things work and the way we are kind of edged towards doing certain things in a way, if you like. The media have a lot to do with it, I will say that, because especially when it comes to things like fashions, peer pressure has a lot to do with it, because you're kind of following the crowd and trying to fit in with them. But I am here to tell you that you don't have to. And we can all still be friends when we're doing different stuff. So last week I was talking about perception, and so this kind of ties in with that. There is that sort of saying about, if you show me 10 of your friends, I will show you who you are. And I think that with that saying, that, you know, it is correct. If you're hanging around with, you know, a lot of people that are doing bad things, you will inevitably end up doing bad stuff. If you're hanging around with, say you wanted to be a millionaire and you start hanging around with millionaires, you're more likely to fall in with their crowd. So it's more likely to happen for you. So with that, you know, you like following the crowd in that respect would be a good thing almost, or you would think it was. However, there is that thing that if you want what they have, you should do what they do. But at the same time, isn't it nice to be able to do your own thing? If you think about it, if there weren't people in the world that done their own thing, we wouldn't have new technologies and things like this. People do think outside of the box, and I really love those kind of people. I love to see someone who can think outside of the box and not have the perspective of the world and the worldly stuff. The thing that I find with the world is that, as I said, the media really do sort of, they do kind of influence a lot of things, like what we watch on TV, for instance. TV is one of the biggest influencers of all time. Without fail, it is such a big influence. You know, it made people, when TV sort of happened, it made people kind of go, well, I want to be like that person. They stopped wanting to be themselves. And in a way, that's so worrying, because what are we here for? We're here to be ourselves and find our purpose and find our own way in life and to do good with that stuff. That's what we're here for. So for you to follow the sheep, to follow what somebody else is doing and try to be like them, you're basically letting yourself down. Wasn't it Kurt Cobain, I believe? I'm just trying to remember this quote, but I think it was Kurt Cobain that said, trying to be somebody else is the waste of the person you are, or it was something like that. Such a great quote, because it's so true. You're like wasting. I see so many people doing this as well, that, oh, I'm gonna like go and hang around with my little crowd and we're all gonna go and do the exact same thing. It's something that I wish I'd have really learned when I was younger. And I do think, like, when you know, I said I was like I'm like a people watcher. I do people watch all the time. It's like I don't know why I do it all the time. It's just like, I don't know, it's just like something that I've done since I was kind of young. I don't know why I'm doing this today. I look like a tiger. Just feel like going full on today. It's something that I've done since I was like a child, that been able to really think outside the box. And I did touch on it before in my media, the video that I've done about the media and my experiences with that. And I can remember being a child and watching like, I don't know, like Saturday morning TV or something, and all of your famous pop stars and whatever would be on there. And I realised really quickly that they were on there because they had a new record coming out, and it was for promotion, and that's why they were there. They weren't there just to come on and see their fans. They were there to get something back from that and get the media to influence us to buy it. And so I realised that really from a really early age. And since then, I've realised other stuff like, you know, the fashion industry, for instance, that will influence the way we all dress. And I really love people that do their own thing. It's really important for me. For instance, although I wouldn't say I do my own thing and I've really got my own style, but then I'm older and I think you go for comfort when you're older. I will say that I think I don't, although not having my own style, I tend to like, you know, my friends will give me stuff and stuff like that. And that happens to me quite often. I'll be like, oh, I like your top. And they'll be like, oh, you can have it when I finish with it. And I'll end up with that top rather than just going to buy stuff. I hate shopping. I hate going. And it is for that reason. I just don't want to look like everybody else all the time. Like, I've fallen into the leggings trap recently. Because you get bigger and you get wider and you get older and all you want is comfort. And I've fallen into the leggings trap. I've just been wearing leggings and I was like, I'm not going to wear leggings today, I'm going to wear trousers. So that's what I've done today. I've put trousers on. But this thing with, you know, following the crowd, it's exactly that. Like, we're all doing the same thing. I look around the area where I live, especially in the winter. In the winter, it's been like this for probably the last 15 years. But people, you see people with their, like, mums, you know, mums, with their, like, hair all up in a messy bun and their leggings on and their Ugg boots, like, you know, like the Primark ones, and they all look exactly the same. And I'm thinking, okay, that's cool. It's all cool to be exactly the same if that's what you really want to do, if you just want to fit in with the crowd. But I don't want to fit in with the crowd. And I really think that every single person can be a leader, not a follower. I really do believe that. I believe it's in everyone to be a leader and to be able to do something amazing with their life. And, you know, it's something that I've had to learn a little bit later, and I wish I'd got it earlier, which is why I'm doing this video. I don't understand why it's such a big thing to, like, all be the same and all do the same thing. I really don't. And it's been like something that's happened over my life. And I tell you what, I'll tell you one thing. If you are going to, like, do something that's outside of the box, prepare yourself, because you will always, without doubt, get the haters. Always. For instance, I took my kids out of school. I don't believe in the school system. I really don't. And I've not done for a long time. Here's the reason why. It's all good if you're going to go to university and be a doctor, but the majority of people in this country don't do that. They don't go to uni. They need to work. We're in, you know, working class families, and everybody sort of gets to a certain age and they're like, I just need to work. So a lot of people just don't go to uni, and it's all well and good bettering yourself, but you can do that anyway. You don't need to go through the school system to go to uni. You can do an access course. So I never saw the point in that. For me, the school system is a way of training kids to do a 9-to-5 job so that they can pay taxes. That's all it is. And we don't all have to do a 9-to-5 job. I don't feel the need to do a 9-to-5 job. Yeah, perfect. It's really like a great idea to go to work and to get some money, but you don't have to go out to work to get some money. I was working in my house for 10 years by, you know, making dolls. And I was doing that for 10 years and it paid all of my bills. So I don't feel like you need to follow the way of the world, the crowd, the example that you're given there in order to do great things with your life. I really don't believe that. But I did get some backlash for taking the kids out of school. I really did. I got some backlash for it. But this is the thing. If you put the kids into the school, they get very influenced by the kids that were around them. And unless you live in an absolutely wonderful, brilliant area, you are going to come across some kids that are not nice. And I didn't want that for my kids. I don't believe that they need to do that until, you know, when you're older, you're going to meet people, of course. But I don't see why I need to expose them to that when they're tiny little children. And so I took them out and we just had this fabulous time. And, you know, I took credit for teaching my daughter to read. I'll tell you why I took the youngest one out originally. I went to the school. This is really shocking. I went to her school and they'd started to teach her joined up cursive writing. And she was about 6, I think. 5, 6. They start school really young over here. They start at about 4.5, 5, depending on their birthday. But she was she was like 4.5 coming up to 5 because she went a year later. And they started to teach cursive, like joined up writing. And she didn't actually know her alphabet. They hadn't really taught her the full alphabet. And I was like, this is so stupid. Shouldn't you know the alphabet before you start trying to do joined up writing? But the school system has a curriculum, and the curriculum says you must do it this way. You must follow the crowd. That's, you know, it's typical school curriculum. So I went to the school and I spoke to her teacher, very young teacher. She just got out of uni pretty much. And I said to her, she's learning this joined up writing. I'm a little bit concerned that she doesn't know her alphabet properly and she's being taught how to do cursive joined up writing. And at the end of the school day, the teacher came out and she had printed me out an alphabet. Just the alphabet on a big sheet of A4, landscape. She printed me the alphabet out and I thought, I could do that. I could have done that at home if that's all I needed to do. So I took her out of school and I taught her how to read. And about 3 or 4 weeks later, she was reading. And so I didn't need the school system in order to teach her those basic skills. And I've had a lot of backlash about it. And I've had backlash about it since. Even at some point when she was sort of with peers and she was hanging about with them, I had some of them were like, oh my God, your mum took you out of school, because we are so brainwashed to think that everything has to be done a certain way that if you don't do that, people are like, oh, you didn't do what they tell you to do. You know, why should I? I'm my own person. As long as I am doing everything legally and I'm paying my taxes and I'm doing the right thing, why do I not have a say in what I do with my kids? So I chose not to follow the sheep and the crowd when it came to that. And I got a lot of backlash for it. Of course I did, because it's out of the norm and people don't like things that are out of the norm. They like things to be all the same and in, you know, this big long row of like, you must do this and you must do that. Not the case. It just isn't. I'm not like one of these people that's like, you know, I mean, I'm quite free-spirited, but I'm not one of these people that's completely anti anything. But for me, it was the right choice. And because I choose not to follow the crowd and I choose to make my own decisions in life, it was a choice that I made. And for me, it was the right one. So I wanted to like really sort of speak to you about that, and just really, for me, I hope this really helps someone, because for me, I've found over the years that people are scared to jump out of the box and do their own thing because of that, because they're worried about the way people will react and how people will feel about it. And to be honest, it's none of their business. That's the way you've got to look at it. You know, people will come and go throughout your life. We've already done a video about that, about how you level up in your life over time. And it's absolutely fine to like wish people well and on their way. Your friendship groups change constantly all the time as you grow and you evolve. And you're here to grow and evolve. And if that includes you being a free spirit and, you know, dressing how you want, or doing what you want, or doing your dream job, if that involves that, then fabulous, go ahead and do it. Don't feel weirded out about it, just do it. It doesn't, I really think, you know, life is so short. I've seen so many people over the years pass away incredibly young. I've had a couple of cousins that have passed away incredibly young. I've had a brother that's passed away incredibly young, all in their 30s. And when that stuff happened, I kind of went, if this was my last day on earth, this was my last week on earth, my last month on earth, or year even, what would I do differently? Why do I need to feel like I have to do this mundane life every single day? Why? Why do I need to do that? I don't. Nobody does. You know, yeah, okay, there's certain things, if you don't do the laundry won't get done. But that's just like daily tasks. It's not like, you know, stuff that needs to be done willing. I mean, it's still going to be there the next day if you decide that you fancy going skydiving one day. Do you see what I mean? It's not like it's a big deal. I think people really put too much pressure on themselves because of all of this, you know, sort of pressure to be a certain way. You go around your friend's house because they do things a certain way. You think, oh, maybe I should do that, you know. It's okay to learn things from people, I think. But you shouldn't be putting pressure on yourself to be like somebody else. You don't need to be a sheep. You don't need to follow the crowd. You know, we're in a place at the moment where there's a lot sort of going on in the world and it's absolutely mental. And people are doing the same thing. They're following the crowds and whatever else. And, you know, it's like a big revolution going on or something, and it's absolutely mental. To be honest with you, right, and this is the truth, right? If I hadn't sort of watched the news, or if I hadn't caught it on the radio or something like that, I wouldn't even know about it. I wouldn't know about it, and it just wouldn't bother me at all, because I'm in my own little bubble, in my own little free space, my freedom in my head, which is another video that I'm going to do eventually, but I've not got round to that one yet. But you know, the freedom, it's in your head. You are free in there, and you can do whatever you like. Whatever you feel the need to do with your life, you can do it. You don't need to follow anyone. You don't need to be like anyone else. And I mean this with everything, you know, as long as you're being legal and you're paying your tax with whatever job you're doing, you can do whatever you want. The world is yours. You can live where you want. You can go where you want. You can do what you like. You don't need to be following the crowd. Nobody does. I don't understand why it's like such a big thing. You know, we like for instance, the music thing. I remember being at school and feeling the need to like the same music that everybody else does, even though I hated it. Couldn't stand the music, you know. I liked my sort of more rockier, grungy stuff, and luckily I was a teenager in that kind of era, so I didn't have to wait too long before everybody thought they were a grunger, you know. And it was like so important to me to have that freedom and to have that sort of, you know, that sort of idealist thing where it wasn't really idols that you had. It wasn't teeny boppers and stuff. It was more people that were thinking outside of the box. And I think it did influence me in that respect, but it influenced me to be myself, which is crazy because most of the influence in the world is trying to influence you to be like something else. And it is, you know, I watch it, and I've watched it with my kids, and I think it's so incredibly sad that people feel the need to be like a certain way just to fit in, and you don't need to be like that. There was I was on a train the other day. I was going into London, and on the train there was a trans. I hate labels as well. It really annoys me. But it was I think it was probably a transgender person, I would say. And to the outside world, to the outside perception, people would go, "Oh, that's a man in a dress," because she hadn't done, or he, I don't know how he or she identifies, but whatever, doesn't matter at this point. But you know, there was no like makeup and stuff, just like a nice gothic-y dress. And I thought, well, that's cool, because you don't look anything like anybody else on this train, and yet everybody was looking at her, or him or her, and saying, whispering at each other and stuff like that. And I thought, well, some people would say, "Oh, I just want a reaction, that's why they dress." No, it isn't. It's because that's how that person feels comfortable. And if you feel comfortable like that, then do it. It's not up to anyone else whether you feel comfortable or not. It's entirely up to you. It's entirely up to you how you are, what you do with your life. I went through this quite a while ago with my own father. I've done like a big video about it before, and an interview with her. But you know, my father's like a cross-dresser, or trans, as you would call it now. It's all been called different things, but part-time lady, I think, is the one that we go for the most. And here's the thing. A lot of people would find that incredibly weird. They'd be like, "Oh, that's really strange. That's like a strange thing." But I'm a real believer in you should be able to live your own life while you're here. I don't see why you know, you're not hurting anyone. If you're not hurting anyone, then why would it be such a big deal? The reason it's such a big deal is because a lot of people can't cope with it. They don't know how to cope with something different, because they're all living in their same bubble. They're all following their crowd. They're all in the little sheep pen together, and they don't know how to take it. And so rather than sort of try and learn about it, they'll shut off and be closed-minded, which is a difficult situation. Because for me, when I say that you should be whoever you want to be, that includes the closed-minded people. I think if they want to live their life in that way, then they should be allowed to do it. I think everyone should be free to live their life how they want to live it, as long as they're, you know, within the law. And so that includes that. So it's a difficult sort of situation, like in my head, just because of the way my head thinks, that I don't feel like, you know, I need to tell someone how to think about, or how to perceive someone who's transgender. For me, it's something that I've chosen to accept, and so it doesn't really bother me. I like the fact that somebody can really live openly and feel like they don't need to follow a crowd. So I like that side of it. But I also like the fact that there are people in the world that don't enjoy it. They don't, and they'll openly say, "Well, I don't like that kind of stuff." But I also feel that you don't need to be nasty about it. You just turn the other way. It's not like a big deal. You just look the other way and don't let it bother you. It's as simple as that. I don't feel like it should be like a need for, you know, everyone in the world to start having an argument or doing like a, I don't know, like a freedom rally or something like that. Like, it's not like, I just don't see that, like, why we need to do that stuff. I just think that, you know, we live in a really crazy, mad world, and for some reason, people can't just, like, you know, live in the same vicinity as other people who are different and lead in different lifestyles and different cultures without feeling the need to try and turn them a certain way. We don't all need to be the same. We really don't. We are a melting pot of human beings. Human beings. And we're discovering new stuff about ourselves all the time. Constantly all the time. There's new things coming out all the time. There's science makes these discoveries all the time. You know, we live in a strange world now. You know, I switched the TV on once and NASA were having a great big press conference about there being aliens. I've known that for years because I've seen four UFOs. That's another video, isn't it? But I really am a believer in all things being possible. All things. And I don't feel the need to follow the crowd or what the world's doing in order to live my life. I really don't. I don't see the point in it. I think it's a complete waste of, you know, being you. I really think that you should try and find yourself. There's so many ways to find yourself as well. Like, one of the things that really helped me was to like write like a list of things that make me happy and a list of things that don't. And I started to find myself through doing that sort of stuff. And then I stopped caring about anything else. I just thought, well, I enjoy doing this and I enjoy doing that, and this is how I enjoyed looking, and that's the way I like to dress. And over the years, it just sort of became a thing where I thought, well, it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks. It doesn't matter. People will talk, they'll gossip, they'll say stuff, they'll have an opinion, but ultimately, it doesn't matter. As long as you're happy, it doesn't matter. You don't need to like be like them or do what they say or whatever in order to, you know, fit in the world. You just don't need to do that. You can be whoever you want to be. If you want to be a recluse who never goes out, then do that. You're not hurting anyone. You can work. You know, you can work at home. There's people that actually do that. They just don't go out, they work at home. And science and, you know, the world go, oh, that's terrible. You're going to get cabin fever staying in all that time. But there are some people that just enjoy doing that. Let them be. It doesn't make any difference. It's nothing to do with you. You go live your life. And the other thing as well is that all the time you're following the crowd and having an opinion about that stuff, you're not living your life because you're sitting there thinking of them, which is ridiculous. You just don't need to be that way. I just don't see the point in it. I really don't. And that's my opinion. And people will go, yes, but that's your opinion. That's my opinion. And it's absolutely fine for me to have that opinion. I really do believe that, you know, we're all able to live together. We can do it. We don't need to be following what everybody else does. And the media are like, I'm always talking about it, but it's terrible because they will just sort of go, well, all of this is happening in the world and we have to do this instead. You know, it just isn't like a big deal for you to like have to read the news every 5 minutes and all of that stuff. I was really bad for it at one point, especially when we went through the pandemic. You know, I wanted to know everything about it. It was scary. I was like, I've got kids and family like everybody else. I was like, crap, you know. But here's the thing about the pandemic. And you can see this on my vlogs because I actually vlogged the whole thing. I cannot get that eyebrow hair. That's so annoying. I actually vlogged the lockdown and it was really mad. It was really, really mad. So during the lockdown, I'm like reading the paper and all sorts of stuff like that. But I was one of those people that still had to go out to work. And I loved it. Don't get me wrong, there was hardly anyone around. It was fabulous. You know, I got to work like extra quick and because the roads were clear and stuff like that. I rode my bike, which is fine as well. It's another thing. People, the opinions, honestly, some of them, I get in hysterics about some of the things that people have opinions about. Oh, you ride a bike, but you're fat. Doesn't matter if I'm fat. If I want to ride a bike, I'll ride a bloody bike. It doesn't make no difference. But yeah, I took that bike and the bike became somewhat famous during the lockdown. My friends used to call it a famous bike because I was always like falling off of it because I was trying to film while I was riding this bike. But I was one of those people that was like still going out to work during the pandemic. And so this is the honest truth. If I'd not watched the news about it and I'd just gone out one day, it would have just been like the apocalypse had happened. I wouldn't have even known about it. My life didn't really change. The only thing that did change is that we had to wear these mandatory masks and stuff like that. Don't you think it's scary? I've said this before. Do you not think it's scary how quickly that they can get hold of us like that and shut everything down? Like your entire existence just shut down. Now I can't go to the shop. Now I can't go and get a Mackey's. Now, you know, everything completely changed. And it was incredible to see it happen firsthand and to actually be out and see how empty the streets were and how weird that was. However, my life didn't really change. It was my perception of it because of the news. That I was thinking, oh God, I'm freaking out. Oh my God, it's scary. And yeah, of course it was scary. It was a bit scary. It was a pandemic. It was scary. We don't want anyone to get it. I got it 4 times and I'm still here. So it's like, you know, if you're going to get it, I've known people that have been going out to work and not had it once. I had it 4 times. So it's just like, you know, if I was to not look at the news every day and I was just going out to work and my work pass was getting me into Aldi through the queue, so I was just wandering into Aldi like I normally would, not queuing. Like everything about it for me was almost the same as it was before. My life didn't really change in that respect. So for me, that from my perception, from me, it was all to do with reading too much about it and being influenced by that. This is what I'm saying. All of this stuff's like recent for me. It's kind of popped up like through meditations and stuff like that, and stuff that I practice, like my spiritual practice, because as you know, I don't consider myself religious. So although I did do a video about how I had a vision of Jesus, I don't consider myself to be religious because I also feel like that's following the sheep as well. I really do. And that's where that saying came from, I know, but that I feel like it's man-made. So I don't follow a religion. I don't do that. I do my own spiritual practices and they work fine for me. So, you know, I try to be a good person. I try not to like piss anyone off in the world. I try to do the right thing. I've not always been like that, but I try my best, and that's how I feel good. And so following the crowd is not a thing for me. I just do me. I do what I want to do, and that includes all aspects of my life, what I want to do for work, how I run my family, or how our family runs together. That's even different because we've got like a family first thing where we, you know, we'll speak about it amongst us, about stuff amongst ourselves before we sort of talk about it to anyone else. You know, it's like a big thing. The way I live my life is so different to everybody else's, and yet it's absolutely fine. And I can look at other people and go, well, you live your life different, and that's fine as well. I mean, if you want to follow the crowd and that's what you want to do, then ultimately you can do that as well. But I don't want people to miss out on who they are and avoid following their dreams because they feel the need to be a certain way because society said to them, you must do this and you must do that. You can literally do whatever you want. The world's open to you. It's just about sort of working towards it. And if you work towards it, eventually it will happen and all the good stuff will come your way. And, you know, for me, you know, that's taken a while. And the reason it's taken a while is because I didn't work hard enough. That's it. I didn't work hard enough to follow my dreams. And the reason I didn't work hard enough to follow my dreams is because I kept getting knocked back. I would have people tell me, you can't do that. That's not a proper job. You can't do that. That's not going to get you enough money. You can't do that. It's not proper. It's not the way things are. But it's actually not true at all. If I was to have listened to all of that stuff, then I wouldn't be here on YouTube either. I've had people say to me, oh, you can't be a YouTuber. Why would you want to put your life out there like that? Oh, YouTubing's not a job. That's not right. That's not something that you should work towards. Well, you know, I'm here to say that I am YouTube because I'm on here. So it doesn't matter how small your channel is or how big it is. We're all YouTubers because we're all on here. So I think that, you know, it's just people's perception of things and the way people feel the need to follow the way the world is or the structure of the world, that they're so brainwashed into sort of saying, well, no, that's not the way that you're meant to do things. It's not the way that the world says you're meant to do things. You're supposed to follow a certain way. You're supposed to go to school from 9 till 3 or 9 till 5. The teenagers over here now go to school 9 to 5. You know, you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to do that. That's what you're meant to do. You're meant to finish your exams. You're meant to go to college. You're not meant to leave school. You're not meant to do that. That's not the way things are done. But who are they to say that that's not the way things are done? There have been plenty of people in the world, like really famous people that, you know, didn't get an education and yet still managed to do something in the world. I'll tell you what, one of my daughters, she's proof of it actually, because she done homeschooling and I sent her for a couple of GCSEs, but she's never ultimately used them. I've got 9. I went to school, I went through the whole school system, and I have 9 GCSEs that I got in 1996. And do you know what? I've never used them once. Not once have I ever used them to get a job. Never, not once. Didn't even use them to get into college because I didn't need to. I done a BTEC, which you didn't need GCSEs for. Didn't even need it. So there's my proof there. You know, my daughter, she's got a really, really fantastic job. You know, she's working her way up in her job and she does really, really, really well in it. And I'm very, very proud of her. But she literally, you know, people were like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. You must get your GCSEs in order to have a job like that. Well, she didn't, and she managed to get a job like that anyway. She just didn't need it. You know, so I don't feel the need to follow the crowd. I think it's okay for you, you know, if that's what you want to do. Like if you say, right, okay, well, I'm not going to do that. I think it works, the system works, and that's the way I want to live my life. That's also great too, because it means that you're not following the crowd. You're doing what you feel is necessary for you and the way your life is. So that's the way you've got to think about it. But what I'm saying for this video is that you don't have to. You can think outside the box. You can do anything that you want to do. Don't let anybody shut you down. You don't need to follow the crowd in order to get where you want to be. You know, just grow and evolve and move forward towards your dreams and just do everything that you want to do in life. Dig in, get it done. The reason for that is because we're here for such a short period and it flashes past you. I mean, you know, it feels like 2 weeks ago I was 20 and now I'm 44. So it flashes past you, and I've lost so many people, as I said, that have been younger, that have not had the chance to do it. So I just wanted to encourage, if you're watching this video and you found it for a reason, I just want to encourage you to really dig in and go for it. Whatever it is that's really like on your brain, like I really want to do that. I don't want to be like sitting in an office doing this. I want to go and do something else. I want to travel the world. I want to, you know, whatever you want to do. You want to be a digital nomad. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. It's possible. We live in this world where we've got so much opportunity and so much stuff is open for us now. We are so lucky to live in this day and age, in this time. So lucky, because the media are going, oh, the world's a scary place. But it isn't. The world's a beautiful place. It's exactly what you make it, and your perception of it is everything. So if you was to go out and say, well, I want to travel and I'm going to do that, I want to go and see beautiful places and meet amazing people, you will do it. Because there are amazing people out there. Not everybody's bad. It's just like a few, you know, minor people that are bad people. It's not a big deal. The reason we think that the world's such a bad place is because when it's all over the news, they only ever report bad stuff. So you're seeing bad stuff all the time. And so you think, oh, I don't want to do that. That's scary. It's a bad, you know, if I go over to this country, then it's going to be awful. It's not the case. There are some great people in the world, great people, fabulous people from all different walks of life. And we can all be friends, and they're out there waiting for you. So go and live your best life. Don't let anyone knock you down. Don't follow the crowd. Don't listen to the sheep if they tell you that you can't do something. Just go do it. And enjoy it and enjoy life, and don't be part of that sort of systemy crowdy thing that we brainwashed to think that we need to be in. It's not something that we need to be in. We can go about our life the way that we want to, as long as we're, you know, doing the right thing, abiding the law for the country that we're in and all of that stuff. It's great. Life's beautiful. Go live it. I'll see you on the next one.